the Democratic Alliance's Tania Campbell back in office as the Mayor of Ekurhuleni after she was ousted in a vote of confidence just 2 weeks ago. The DA's leader in Gauteng, Solly Msimanga, confirming that it looks like the EFF voted with the DA to return Campbell to power. It comes after both the ANC and the EFF nominated candidates earlier today, but then the EFF's Nkululeko Dunga withdrew from the race, leaving the ANC's Jongizizwe Dlabathi on the ballot.
One of the things that we're concerned about is that there's serious need for leadership and for the provision of services to the people of Ekurhuleni. And we are glad that today we finally found that, again through Tania Campbell. Yes, the EFF looks like it voted with the Democratic Alliance and all its coalition partners, Action SA, IFP, ACDP, the Freedom Front. And we want to then say that, we now need not vote. It's time to not get back to the basics. It's time to get, the people of Ekurhuleni services that they deserve.
Live now to the site of this breaking news in Ekurhuleni, our reporter Govan Whittles standing by with the newly re-elected mayor in Ekurhuleni. Govan, what reaction there today?
Thank you, Stephen. Well, the mayor's back after about 2.5 weeks, and we'll get straight into the conversation with Alderman Tania Campbell. Mayor, welcome back into office. It was a short break. Did you expect to come back?
Yeah, we had an inclination that it would happen. We felt that the motion was premature, nonsensical on many aspects. So, yes, we felt that the ANC jumped the gun. Their own house is not in order. And they did not even have a candidate until the last minute, until 2 o'clock this morning. So we had a feeling that they would not be returning.
What did you make of the scenes in council, the acceptance of the nomination by Nkululeko Dunga, then the withdrawal, and then the tense negotiations? At that point, did you know that you were actually going to win this election?
Yes, at that point I knew that the discussions had fallen apart between the EFF and the ANC, but no surprise there as well. I think too many demands are made from the ANC. They are not willing to bend or buckle. And so we actually, when I saw that happening, I knew that there was a chance that I would be back in as the mayor.
Speaking of bending or buckling, we know there's no love lost between the DA and the EFF, but they have returned your multi-party coalition to power. Without you going into any negotiations with the EFF, what can they expect in return?
Yes, as always, I will have meetings with them. There were a couple of pertinent things that they raised within the media that I would like them to come through to my office so that we can discuss it, see where corrective measures can be made with us, specifically when it comes to service delivery. But at no stage were there any discussions or deals made between us, and our relationship as a party within council will remain.
You also coming back into office having been freshly sworn in. The same has to happen for your mayoral committee. Can we expect you to undertake a reshuffle in the city of Ekurhuleni? There's
a position that is still open as well. What I would like to do is look at the strengths and weaknesses of our mayoral committees, see where we can harness those strengths, specifically when it comes to service delivery, to make sure that our residents get the best out of the executive, and me as the executive mayor gets the best out of the executive as well.
What kind of changes can we expect?
I think what we will do is unpack each department, see which departments worked very well, which departments are not working right now, and where adjustments need to be made. So it's a little bit premature to say what my outcomes will be. We had already started doing some analysis before the motion of no confidence came through, and we will carry on with those analyses.
The scenes from the Ekurhuleni Council chambers today were broadcast live for the most part, particularly the most chaotic scenes, and it did display a textbook case of unstable government. What do you have to say to the residents of Ekurhuleni and South Africans that are watching and looking at this as a case of an unstable government and possibly the future of coalitions?
Yes, I think it's important that we focus to stabilise the city and stabilise any government where we've got coalitions. Coalitions is something that this country will be going towards. But it is important to make sure that your coalitions work, that you have regular meetings, which we have had here in Ekurhuleni. But it is very important that we make sure that it is stable, because if the government is not stable, we cannot deliver those services.
Coalition government stability are predicated on having majority governments. You're going to run a minority government again, and could be removed once again if the minority coalition partners or the minority grouping in council joins up with the ANC and the EFF abstained, as was the case last time. You're concerned about that?
Yes, of course I'm concerned about that, because what it shows me is that not all parties have the interests of our residents at heart. What it showed me was a lot of this was to do with personal gain, personal positions. I said from the word go that if I was not returning as the executive mayor, I would sit in the opposition benches and I would do my utmost to make sure that services are brought. But when you're looking at that type of scenario, it shows you that personal interests were outplaying much higher than what our public's interests were.
That's the reality, but then what could you do about it?
We will be in discussions with the other parties in council to try and stabilise the situation more. But yes, I think discussions should never happen. A roundtable discussion should never stop happening. Because, you know, if you are serious in what you are doing, I mean, this has been a lifetime crusade for me and many of the people and councillors within the city. And we have to fight for our residents.
Thank you so much. That's the newly elected, re-elected Mayor of Ekurhuleni. Joining us just after that council sitting, Stephen. And we also spoke to the EFF a little while earlier, who told Newzroom Afrika that they took a decision that the city couldn't be without a government for any longer. Of course, after tomorrow, it would have risked having grants to be placed under administration. And they believed that the ANC had proved itself to be dishonest. That was the explanation for essentially voting for the multi-party coalition, propping them up, and they're back again. But of course, we don't know for how long. It's back to you now, Stephen.
Govan, Whittles, thank you very much indeed for that live update.